Ever find yourself with like a brand new notebook,
Yeah.
the fresh stack of paper just kind of waiting there for ideas, and ever wonder about like the journey it took to actually get to your hands?
It's one of those things you don't really think about, you know?
Yeah, it's easy to forget about those complex global supply chains that bring,
Yeah.
everyday items right to us.
Right.
But today we're going to do a deep dive into that very process.
Okay.
We're specifically going to be tracing the 12-week timeline of shipping notebooks and notepads
Why?
all the way from a factory in Cambodia to the United States.
It's a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to guide us through this journey, we've got insights directly from a manufacturer of writing paper products
Oh, cool.
based in Cambodia.
Right.
Our goal today is to give you a clear understanding of this entire process.
Okay.
So whether you're a buyer for your business or you're stocking shelves for retail, or even if you're in the business of making paper planners yourselves,
Mm-hmm.
this deep dive is for you. Because knowing what goes into these 12 weeks can really help you manage expectations and avoid those costly delays
Definitely.
that can really throw a wrench in your
Yeah,
plan.
it's not as simple as just placing an order,
Right.
and
Yeah.
waiting for a truck to just show up.
Exactly.
There's a whole carefully orchestrated sequence of events.
Yeah. It all starts with that very first sample.
Okay.
Then it goes through, international shipping and logistics, customs clearance in LA.
Wow.
We're going to break it all down.
So to really understand how this all unfolds, we can think of this 12-week journey in distinct phases.
Okay.
So first you have that initial stage of sampling and approval.
Okay.
That's where the product specifications are really hammered out.
Okay.
Then after that, you've got the preparation of the materials, getting all those components ready.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the mass production in Cambodia.
Right.
And then finally, the big one, shipping those finished goods all the way across the ocean to the U.S.
All right. So let's start at the very beginning. That first stage, sampling and approval.
Good.
Our source tells us this initial sampling process takes about 7 to 10 days.
So this is where the manufacturer in Cambodia takes the buyer's requirements and creates that very first physical sample.
Exactly.
Okay.
So they're working really closely with suppliers right from the get-go.
Oh, wow.
They're not just guessing. They're making sure that this initial prototype really reflects all those specifications.
Got it.
So it's really important to get this feedback loop right early on.
Right.
Because this sample becomes the gold standard for the entire production.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this sample isn't just a quick glance. It's setting the quality standard for potentially thousands of units.
Exactly.
Wow.
So for example, if you requested a specific weight of paper for a planner,
Okay.
maybe one that minimizes bleed through, or a certain soft touch coating on the cover, this initial sample has to have all of those features.
It's the benchmark for everything that comes after it.
Exactly.
Wow.
So once that sample is created, it's time for the buyer to give it the okay.
Right.
This express and sampling approval phase can add another 5 to 7 days to the timeline.
So the sample has to go from Cambodia, but sometimes China, to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Sometimes those specialized components come from China,
Okay.
and this all has to happen via express shipping.
So this is just one little sample traveling the world.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And the speed of this step is super important.
Makes sense.
Delays in international shipping, the time it takes to go through customs, how fast the buyer can review it and send feedback.
Yeah, all of that matters.
All of that impacts the approval timeline.
So essentially, the quicker the purchasing team gives their feedback,
Mm,
the faster the whole process can move forward.
precisely.
Makes sense.
That initial thumbs up gets the ball rolling for mass production.
Okay, so we've got our approved sample. What's next?
Well, now we move into the material preparation and the making of the covers.
Okay,
This takes about 2 weeks.
so this is where the manufacturer starts gathering all the raw materials. The paper, the binding, the cover materials, all of it.
It all comes together here.
Wow.
But this is also where things can get a little complicated.
Oh, how so?
Well, imagine the buyer wants a super intricate cover design.
Okay.
Lots of colors, maybe some special finishes.
Mm-hmm.
Or what if they want unique materials like recycled paper with a very specific texture?
Right.
Sourcing all of that can be tricky.
So those custom touches can really add a layer of complexity.
For sure.
And I imagine delays in sourcing those materials are not uncommon,
That's right.
especially if they're not readily available in Cambodia.
Yeah. And that's why clear communication from the buyer is key.
Right from the start.
Right
yeah.
from the start. So the manufacturer can address any potential sourcing challenges early on.
And sometimes those materials aren't even in Cambodia, right?
Exactly.
Sometimes they have to get shipped from China.
Yep. And if that's the case, we're adding another 2 weeks just for shipping those raw materials from China to Cambodia.
Okay, so we're talking about a month just to get the materials ready.
Yeah, and international freight can be unpredictable.
Oh, for sure.
You've got peak seasons, holidays in either country. Even weather can cause delays.
Yeah, it seems like a lot can go wrong in those 2 weeks.
It can, and while sea freight is usually the most cost-effective option for moving all those materials,
Right.
it does take longer than air freight.
Mm-hmm.
So planning ahead is super important.
And I imagine having a good relationship with your shipping agent is key, too,
Absolutely.
to make sure everything moves smoothly.
A reliable shipping agent can make all the difference.
Okay, so the materials finally made it to Cambodia.
Yes.
What happens now?
Now we're at the heart of the operation,
Okay.
mass production.
This is where those notebooks actually get made.
Exactly.
Oh.
Our source says this typically takes around 3 weeks.
All right.
So the approved sample and the sourced materials all come together.
Okay.
The notebooks and notepads are assembled, they're bound, they're printed with any custom designs, they get their finishing touches.
It's all happening.
Yeah, but even though this is a super busy time, our source really emphasizes the importance of keeping a close eye on everything.
So you can't just assume it'll all run smoothly.
Exactly.
There could be unforeseen hiccups along the way.
All sorts of things.
Like what?
A machine could break down.
Right.
There could be labor shortages.
Okay.
Our source even gave an example of a printing equipment malfunction
Oh, no.
that delayed the entire production by a week.
Wow.
So yeah, regular communication with the production manager is crucial.
To catch those problems early.
Exactly.
Okay, so the notebooks are off the production line?
Yep.
What's the last step?
The final journey.
From Cambodia to the U.S.?
From Cambodia to Los Angeles.
Okay.
And this leg of the trip takes about 5 weeks.
5 weeks at sea.
I know it's a long time.
It really shows you just how complex these global supply chains really are.
It does.
So in this phase, there's a lot of coordination with shipping schedules, customs procedures. All that can cause unexpected delays. Yep. Apparently, those container ships leave Cambodia pretty regularly, though.
Yeah, usually on Sundays.
Okay.
But to really manage this stage, well, you've got to be talking to your shipping agents.
They're the ones who know what's going on at the port.
Exactly.
To give updates, troubleshoot problems, keep you informed.
All of that.
And getting that customs documentation done early is super important, too.
Yes.
So there are no delays when the shipment gets to L.A.
Exactly. That can be a huge bottleneck.
Okay. So let's take a step back and look at this whole journey.
All right.
From that initial idea to the boxes arriving in L.A., we're talking about 12 weeks.
That's 3 months.
Wow.
And in those 12 weeks, we have that initial 1 to 2 weeks for sampling and approval, then 2 to 4 weeks for sourcing and preparing the materials,
Right.
about 3 weeks for mass production in Cambodia,
Okay.
and finally, that 5-week ocean voyage to the U.S.
So for anyone listening, whether you're a buyer, a retailer, or even a manufacturer yourself,
Right.
understanding this 12-week breakdown is really important.
Absolutely.
It helps you set realistic timelines, manage your supply chain, and avoid those last-minute problems.
Exactly.
It's fascinating to see how much goes into getting something as simple as a notebook to us.
Yeah, it makes you think about all the other everyday items and the journeys they take.
What else might have such a complex and lengthy voyage before it reaches our hands?
Yeah, definitely something to ponder the next time you're at the store.
For sure.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of notebook supply chains.
It's been a journey.
Until next time.
See ya.